From our studios in Boston, Massachusetts, I'm Gerry DeViller. Debbie Catalano with Catalano Creative is alongside. We want to welcome our listeners from the United States and around the world. It's another Sunday podcast. Hello, Debbie.
Hello, Gerry.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm better than I deserve. Thank you. Well, we are back. Welcome back. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. And it's nice to be back. 2026.
It is. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you
Did
and to
you-
all our listeners.
Did you? Yes. And did you have a great holiday?
I did. It was very nice. Time with family. Yeah, it was very nice.
Awesome. So, great things for 2026, right?
That's a nice positive attitude.
New England Patriots, maybe Super Bowl.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah. And
We'll see.
as of when we're recording this, they had a great game the other day. So
They did. And more to come. So there's a lot of
yes, let's hope.
a lot of Patriot haters out there. It's funny.
Still,
I
mean, we didn't haven't been doing well the last few years. Usually that tempers people a little bit.
Yeah, looking at social media, easy schedule, blah blah blah. Well, anyway, but good luck to the Pats, and we will we'll hopefully take home another championship. But anyway, I know what I wanted to tell you.
Yes.
We just hit 101 countries
That's
listeners.
awesome.
So we want to thank everyone who's listening from wherever you may be around the world. It's just a surprise that we've gone into 100 plus countries.
Yes, it's exciting.
It is, and I'm not sure why. But you know what? They told me don't question it, just enjoy it. So.
Nope. Let's enjoy it. And thank you to all the new listeners and repeat listeners. And so it's very appreciated.
Absolutely. And folks, please email us. I don't do this enough. It's another Sunday podcast at gmail.com. It's another Sunday podcast at gmail.com. Please email us. Say hello. Tell us where you're from. If you have any guest ideas, if you want to be on the show, we'd love to hear from you. So please don't hesitate to shoot us an email. It's another Sunday podcast at gmail.com. All right. I am excited about today's guest. He has been with us on a couple of occasions. Last time we had our guest, he was here in July. And I'm just super excited. Are you ready to bring him on?
Yes. I'm excited as well.
We want to welcome back our guest today. It's Josh Mills. He is the founder of the public relations company It's Alive Media and Management. He has a podcast entitled Rarefied Air, HEIR, where he talks to children of famous actors, actresses, and other famous people. It's a great podcast. So I'm enjoying it. I am slowly making my way through the hundreds of episodes that he has because they're just so great.
Entertaining.
And if you, like me, are into what was it like to be the son or daughter or granddaughter or grandson of famous people, if you're into that kind of stuff, then you're going to love this podcast. Rarefied Air, HEIR. Josh Mills, welcome back to the show. Great to see you again.
It's great to see both of you. How are you both?
Doing okay. Yeah. Just how are you?
I'm good. Hanging in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Buckle up, but
Yes.
I'm
Yep.
ready. I'm good,
Happy
thank
New
you.
Year to you.
Thank you. And you too.
Thank you. Did you have a great holiday season?
Yeah, we did. Very quiet. I took a little time off, which was nice. But it was good. A lot of rain in Los Angeles. It never rains in Southern California. Sure. But yeah, it was great.
I think I take the rain over the snow. I'm not a fan of the snow. I'm not even a fan of the cold anymore. And I just got back from Miami. I was in Miami for about a week for the NHL Winter Classic. Can you imagine having a hockey game outdoors in Miami? And it was a great time down there. And it was 75 degrees during the day, and
nice.
I came back and it was 8.
Yeah.
But that's vacations, as opposed to you're supposed to
Have a
come back
great
to
time.
reality. Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I took Amtrak the entire way from Boston to Miami.
Wow.
I took Amtrak,
I
and
think that's really cool you did that. I love trains.
it was. I'm a big train guy, as folks
Please
know.
tell me, wait, you had a sleeper car, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I couldn't do 30 hours in a seat, and I had enough reward points and things to kind of make it a little bit cheaper than if I tried to buy the whole trip. But that was part of my vacation. I enjoyed it. I became friends with the train car attendants, the sleeper car attendants, and it was just looking out the window and turning out the world, and it was great. Um, uh, and it's just I'm just so much better than flying, I think. But um,
It probably took you less time to take the train than it would to fly.
it's yes, probably it was a long journey, but again, that was part of my vacation. I get the Wi-Fi, I get the internet there. In fact, I listened to one of your podcasts on the train ride.
Well,
Um,
thank you.
so yeah, and a bunch of other just had a wonderful time, and the vacations are always way too short, but it was relaxing. So looking forward to my next train ride, wherever that may take me. The Winter Classic next year is in Utah, and I did look at the train. I went, 62 hours. That probably a
Ugh,
little bit too much
Ugh.
for me.
yeah, that's a long time on a train.
Yeah.
I'd have to make a couple of week vacation out of it and just get on and off the train in various parts of the country. But
I have
so
a friend who traveled by train from here in Massachusetts to California because he doesn't like to fly. So he just went all across the country.
one of my goals is to go across the top of the country and come back, like maybe when I retire,
Hmm.
and do that as part of a vacation, and get off in various parts of the country, not just sit on the train for
Yeah, he got.
three
I think he
weeks or
did that.
whatever.
He
Yeah,
stopped. Yeah.
yeah. Amtrak is. I love Amtrak. Shout out to Amtrak. Anyway, enough about me and my vacation. um, Josh, I thought we'd do a couple of different things. I thought first I'd love to talk about the podcast again because we have so many new listeners. Since the last time you were on, we've added about 30 countries,
Nice.
maybe a few more than that since the last time you're on. So I thought it would be great to kind of go over talk about the podcast a little bit and get a little more in depth on that. And
Sure.
then, and for the folks that don't know, you had a very famous mom, and I thought maybe we could talk a little bit about that, if you're up for that. So
Absolutely. Love talking
yeah,
about my mom. Yeah.
excellent. So I guess my first question for you: what inspired you to start your podcast, Rarefied Air, in the first place?
I mean, there were a couple of things that kicked it off, but one of them was that I realized when I went to college and when I came back from college that people would come to my house and they would see photos of me with Groucho, or they would see photos of my mom with Kennedy or Nixon or all these different presidents, Lyndon Johnson, and they would go like, is that your mom with like what?" Like they couldn't and I realized like, "Oh, you don't know me like people who I grew up with knew me because, we just, when you're younger and when the schools I went to, you just sort of knew everybody's parents and whatever." But it just kind of was like a moment where I was like, "Oh, I guess it was a little different," or I never really thought about it myself, and I don't really go around like I mean, you know, I always say if you're under 50, you may not know who my mom is, but there was just a moment where I thought, well, this was different. And so I always kind of had that in the back of my mind.
I think it's important to let folks know that mom was Edie Adams, very famous actress. Yeah, that's um it's a great, as I said before, it's a great podcast. And I'm into that type of media, and it's very entertaining and informative, and I love the behind the scenes thing that the folks that you interview talk about. Um,
Well, it's funny
it
because sometimes you can get people to talk and there's sometimes you can't. And sometimes when the mic is turned off, they'll tell you things and you're kind of like, "Oh, why didn't you?" But they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I know what you mean. That's happened to me when I interview musicians, and I would
yeah.
record it old school. Then I was like, ah, darn, I wish I had my recorder on at this point.
Well, I just had someone on, and in the middle of the podcast, she just sort of said, like, "Well, I can't really talk about this on the podcast, so this is off the record." And then she just went, and I was like, "But you,
Ah, yeah.
and it's, you know what? It really has more to do with the fact that nobody wants to really upset their family or a family
Mm,
member.
That's
sure.
So
understandable.
they
Yeah.
just kind of like, it's better to kind of leave it, I don't know. You don't do this, but I actually have people sign waivers because I am a little concerned that a family member will complain or be upset. And I've actually turned down guests. I've turned down uh, Dean Martin's daughter because she didn't want to sign
Yeah.
a
Ah,
Mm,
waiver, and a few other people because they don't feel like they have to. And I'm kind of like, well, no, I kind of feel like I need to have that because if you piss off someone in your family, they'll come after me.
right.
yeah. No, you're smart to do that. How do you when you what is your approach when you ask people? Do you start off with, if they don't already know who you are, that look at I'm one of you. I'm a a child of a famous person. Is that how you kind of approach them?
Yeah, I do. The funny thing is I'll say that to people and at some point they either get it or they don't, and not
Mm-hmm.
like mom, but like, oh, okay, we have the same sort of things in common. I do
Yeah.
have people that are either like, yes, I'm totally into it, let's do this tomorrow, or I have people that are like really reluctant. I had someone recently who was like, I need you to send me every single question you're going to ask me, and I want to know everything ahead of time. And I was like, well, it's not really a
No.
conversation that way.
Yeah.
Usually, if people do it, I think they enjoy it. They may not like realize that going in, but I think by the end, they're usually thinking, I don't really get to talk about this stuff. And it brings up memories and it brings up things that are happy, hopefully, to them, or even, I've had many, many, many episodes that are dark, and I mean, it goes really, it's not all just fun and games. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
really bad abuse, secrets in families, people, lying, and so even those situations, I feel like it is edifying to some people because they think about it all the time, but they don't ever express it.
Yeah.
Do you think they fall into it sometimes? Like, obviously, you're not, trying to get dirt. You have them on the show for what the theme of your podcast is. But do you think some people end up sort of, I don't know, almost like it's therapeutic for them, and they don't realize they're going to come out with all this until they're doing the podcast?
Yeah, I mean the tagline for the podcast is a child of a celebrity interviewing a child of a celebrity, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people are kind of like, yeah, that it's too much, whatever, nepo baby, blah blah blah. But I've talked to people like I talked to someone, this guy Jamie Perrette, whose father was a singer, Peter Perrette, in a very famous UK punk band, The Only Ones, and he had a really horrific childhood. I mean, as bad as I've ever heard. And he
Wow.
said to me during the podcast, he's like, you could say Nepo baby, but I would have traded places with you at any time in my life because it was so bad.
Wow.
And he's reconciled with his dad, but it was funny because months after we talked, he reached out randomly and just sort of said, like, I really appreciate you interviewing me because I didn't realize I was in a very dark place. And he just had a daughter, and he was with his not his wife, but his girlfriend. And I think he just really kind of realized, like, yeah, I needed to get that stuff out of me. And I that was those are ones that I really, kind of cherish because it's like
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go into it with an agenda, but
Right.
if it helps someone, even better.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It just so your podcast, it goes a number of different ways. It's like you said,
Yeah.
it's entertaining. It can get very deep. It can
Yep.
get it talks about tragic and stuff. It's not just for our listeners. This is not a TMZ podcast.
No.
Not a
And
TMZ type podcast, and nothing against TMZ, but it's not. That's the only thing I could think of. It's not like that. But there are some things that come out that are just so interesting that people just say,
I
"Oh
do
wow,"
I do say to people in prior to them coming on, this is not a gotcha. I'm not trying
Mm,
to trap you
Mm-hmm.
into anything. I'm not trying to, if it goes somewhere and you don't want it to go there, you can always stop.
right,
Um,
Yeah.
right,
and sometimes people do, but a lot of times people just go with it, and it's sort of like, holy shit! Like I can't
yeah,
believe you
yeah,
told me that.
yeah. Is there a question that you ask just about every guest? And if there is, why do you think that's an important question?
Yeah, just because it satisfies something really silly and stupid in me. I always tend to ask people what their favorite restaurants were because I do
Oh.
like to know what people's restaurants that they went to, but it also tells you about like, the family, what they thought was casual, what they thought was fancy. Did they think of themselves more in a certain way? There's one restaurant that always comes up in LA called Hamburger Hamlet. Like, I feel like if I ask that question 9 times out of 10, it's 9 times that they're going to say Hamburger
Yeah,
Oh,
Hamlet.
how
yeah,
And
funny.
I went there all the time. It was just a play. It was not fancy, not fast food, but it was just like a good family type place to go, and everybody went there. Um, I also started to ask people what kind of car their parents drove.
mm,
Oh,
Be-
that's interesting.
Because
yeah,
I also feel like, yeah, I want to know who your parents were and tell us about, Rod Serling or tell us about whoever. But I'm also kind of like, what kind of car did Rod Serling drive? Like, I
hmm,
need to know this information.
yeah.
So I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't expect you to say that, but I like that.
I feel like the irreverent stuff and the silly stuff is just as important as, maybe the more challenging things.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and that kind of takes me to my next question: is how do you balance humor and sensitivity when a story is might be like deeply personal?
Yeah. Well, I kind of let the guests tell me how, well, taking visual cues, we don't have video on our podcast, which I probably should do at some point. I just haven't figured out how to edit that way. Um, but I take cues from them. I've had guests that made me cry. They were so genuine and so heartfelt about whatever terrible thing was happening. Um, but I really leave it to them. And in those same episodes, there may be a really funny moment or a
Mm,
really, I don't try to take it, so far down the road that like we're all, in black veils and,
yeah,
I don't know. So it just depends. I kind of let the guests kind of tell me where they want to go. And sometimes you can push and people will not take the bait and you just go, okay, it's one of those interviews and you just kind of let it go wherever it goes. And next time we'll clarify this in another way.
well, and I think you do an awesome job with that. And I don't recall the episodes that I have listened to where there had been that dark side of those I guess kind of tragic stories in some ways. And then this at the same time there's humor in there, whether it's before or during or after. And it's just amazing how you're able to balance that because I don't know if I could do that. I mean, it would kind of throw me off if I wasn't expecting, something like
Yeah.
that. It's like, how would the rest of the podcast go? Has any guests actually surprised you or shared something you never would have expected?
Uh yeah. Um I talked to someone her father was he's not famous, but he's famous for something he did. Um he was known as the Acid King, and he was the guy that supposedly supplied drugs to all the 60s London musicians.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
That guy, super dark.
Wow.
And her mom was this woman who was a comedian, and her name was Lotus Weinstock. So I was talking to Lily Hayden, and she I mean, I knew there was some craziness. And I said to her before we actually started, I said, Lily, I was reading up about a lot of stuff, and there's some things here that are kind of intense. Do you want to talk about it? And she goes, yes, I have kind of not wanted to go there for very long, and I'm tired of it, and I would like to kind of get these things off my chest. She told me that her father, one time, mom went to pick her up when she was a little girl at their house, and her dad was in sort of a rage, and they drove away, and he started shooting a gun at them.
Oh,
Uh, I in the same episode, she's told me, insane stories about. I mean, she basically said either my father killed this guy or he knows who killed this guy. And I
Wow.
was like, holy shit.
Yeah,
not
yeah.
That's
not
fair.
expecting to hear that.
No.
Uh,
Wow.
but at the same time, she was very funny and very open. I was, talking to her about many things, and I just thought, like, gosh, that was really brave of her to,
Yeah.
say that stuff,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yes.
Um, but she had a really like miraculous, crazy life. And by the way, one thing, and this is the funny thing about having a podcast like this, you can't get to everything.
Hmm.
The thing we didn't get to was that Lily was a child actress, and she's in Easy Money with Rodney Dangerfield. I mean, she won a Grammy. She's a Grammy-winning musician,
Oh,
but
Oh,
wow.
she's
wow.
also an actress. And so you can't always get to the things you want, but
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. If you gonna any plan to have her back to talk about that, or is that
Yeah, I would like to have her back and see what's going on. There's some people that we have had a couple of people back. I've never done, I'd love to do, well, sorry, we just did this. I interviewed the actor Bob Crane, who has a
Mhm.
very dark connection. He was murdered.
Yes.
Um, and I interviewed his son, who then proceeded to say, as soon as we got off the podcast, you have to talk to my sister.
Mm.
And so I talked
Oh,
to his sister. So I'd love to do more of those because I
Yeah.
love,
yeah. Other family members.
yeah,
Kind of a
Right.
dynamics and
different perspective, and those were great episodes as well too. That was very enlightening and
thank you.
entertaining. Yeah. Yeah. I was a fan of the show and
Yeah,
of Bob Crane and very tragic ending.
yeah, Hogan's Heroes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess I was going to ask how you choose guests. Obviously, they're children of celebrities, but do you have a specific selection process, or do you just anybody who's a child of a celebrity? Do you have a list of folks that you um, would
yeah,
like to interview, and just as long as they
yeah,
meet the criteria of hey, I'm so and so's daughter or granddaughter or son or whatever.
yeah. I mean, sometimes people will connect with me, and I even ask, like, on my podcast, if you know anyone, please send them my way. But like, I've wanted to interview Ann Serling, Rod Serling's daughter, for years. And she never said no, but she never said yes. And I kept reaching out, and finally she said yes. So I just had her on. Was a total bucket list one, and she was great. She was a little bit guarded, I think, because she really like reverential about her father, and Rod Serling is one of the most interesting people of I think the
Oh
20th.
yeah,
Um, but at the same time, she was very open and honest, and she told us great stories. But you know, like I asked her something about like where's your archive, and she was kind of like, well, it's in these places, and I'm like, well, why isn't it in one place? And she was like, well, I'm not really sure. And you get into different areas, but even like again with Bob Crane, very few people know that he was the top Los Angeles DJ in the 1960s. Like he was the if Sinatra or Marilyn Monroe or anyone was in town, you had to go on the Bob Crane show before he was ever on Hogan's Heroes. And I had people go, I never knew that, or I
Hmm.
totally forgot about that, and I love knowing that information, which I didn't
yeah.
remember at all. Yeah.
I never knew it until I listened to the episode that he was a DJ. I just assumed he was always an actor.
Yeah.
Maybe movies or I've only seen him, I think, in Hogan's Heroes. But yeah, that was kind of a surprise to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the more like there isn't a time era uh I don't know, I say cutoff. I mean, you get people who are like some of the classics, you know, their I should say their parents or loved ones were the classics. But what would you say is maybe the more recent celebrity uh family member that you've had on? Like a recent celebrity, I mean.
Wow, good question. I tend to go old school.
Yep.
I'll say that. Um, well, I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not thinking of one. Like, I wonder, I've thought about, like, what if someone said, "Oh, would you want to talk to like Will Smith's daughter Willow?" Or would you
Right.
I'd be like, I don't know if I could. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I could. I just don't know how much I would know or
Yes.
it's
That makes
not really
sense.
my
Yeah.
wheelhouse. Um, I don't know if I'd say no because frankly, I'm sure someone like that would bring in a ton of people.
Hmm.
So there is that. But I I didn't connect with the idea that, oh, I'm 57. The people I remember as stars are not what people think of as stars today. So
Well, definitely not what I meant, by the way. I was just
no,
curious, like,
no,
even people from
no.
the 80s sitcom or, like if somebody approached you and said, "Hey, my dad was, in I don't know, I'm trying to think of it like some popular 80s show. I don't know. Anyway, or even like 70s, like
Sure.
somebody
Oh,
whose
of
whose
course.
dad was, Greg Brady or something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, I would definitely do that.
Yeah.
And even into, I think I would just have to find them interesting for something.
Yes.
Whether it's
Yes.
if I didn't care for them or whatever, it wouldn't matter. But if there was something that was there that was like a nugget of information, I would want to hone in on that and try to talk about that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think even if people are younger and maybe if they're not familiar, the podcast is so good and the stories and you incorporate little bits and pieces of, some sound bites and things like that. And I think that it just would be for anybody, really, any age, because it just the stories are intriguing.
Thank you. Yeah, I do try and make it more conversational. I try to let the guests talk
Hmm.
because I always got bummed out when I would see a specific oh, not Tonight Show, but just a late night host and they wouldn't let the guests talk and I was like, I see you every night. Like I want to hear what they have to say. So I really do try and shut up as much as I can.
Hmm.
That's
But
something I
not
need
right
to
now.
work on. That's something I need to work on. We're talking with Josh Mills. He is the founder of the public relation company It's Alive Media and Management, and he is the host of the very popular podcast Rarefied Air, HEIR. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. You will be uh, a subscriber for life. There's so many great episodes out there. Josh, you wear so many hats: podcast host, an author, a storyteller. Which one feels most you right now, and why?
Wow. Well, I mean, I do publicity for bands and music and whether it's a book or a CD or LP or whatever. The kids say vinyl. But uh it depends. I mean, I've been doing that. I think that's probably the thing that I feel like identify most with because that's how I make my living and that's what I do all the time. But the podcast is great. I also run my mom's estate, Ernie Kovac's estate, who she was married to. My father was a photographer and shot for Sports Illustrated and TV Guide, so I run his estate. So I always have something going on, and some days I'm you know 60-40 this way. Sometimes it's, 10-80-10 on another thing, but I'm always kind of busy with something.
Never bored.
No.
That's a good thing.
Sometimes I
That's a
want
good
to pull my hair out, what's left of it, but yes.
thing. You need to take a train ride and just
Yes.
block out. Like um, we we just touched on you the son of Edie Adams, and you have some archives, and you do a number of things with her name and things like that. So thought we'd kind of shift gears if we could and talk a little bit about that, if
Yeah,
that's okay.
I
Um,
love it.
so, what was it like growing up in a household with this famous actress?
Well, it's funny you say that because I do this all the time on my podcast, and I realize that everyone says the same thing, which is basically like, I didn't know it was anything special. Like I just sort of grew up. I didn't know. I mean, there were moments that were weird and bizarre, and you kind of have an out of body experience. I mentioned this a couple times, but I had a very out of body weird experience when I think I was 15, and we were in Venice, Italy with Jack Lemmon, and we ended up at a hotel and kind of spent the week with Jack Lemmon, the super agent Sue Mengers, who, I mean, she was the agent for, I mean, everyone, Barbara Streisand, Robert Redford, I mean, just one after another, Gore Vidal and Christopher Walken.
Mm.
And I just had this moment
Wow.
where I was like, what the hell am I like, what? This doesn't,
Yeah.
this is not my life. This is what my daily life is like. So I did have those moments a lot. Yes.
So was there a specific point in your life where you were aware of, was that like the time when you were aware of like her cultural impact versus just that's mom or
I'll tell you a funny story. It was at Fenway Park. This is true.
Oh,
okay.
So my mom in the summertime would do these theater things. So she would go to St. Louis, where there was this huge theater called the Muni, or there was something in Cape Cod, the Melody Tent in Cape Cod. It was a big
Mm-hmm.
deal.
yeah.
Um, and so all over the country. And as part of her production, she would, because she was a really good singer and she could hit the high note, she would sing the national anthem. So it would be a thing where it was Edie Adams performing at the Melody Tent, and now she's going to sing the Star Spangled Banner for the Red Sox game. So I mean, I was 14 maybe, and I loved when she did this because we got great seats and we met people behind the scenes, and just thought it was amazing. So she she does her thing, and we're sitting in this box at Fenway Park, and behind us are other VIPs and their guests, and they don't know that I'm her son, but I can hear what they're saying. And my mom was a very attractive woman. She was a very sexy woman. She had a very sexy commercial for Muriel cigars where she said, like, why don't you pick one up and smoke it sometime and blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they don't know that I'm her son, but I hear them and they start like talking about my mom. I mean, and as guys would talk about other women. And I kind of just looked behind me and then I was like, but they don't know that. And I was like, I'm not going to say anything because that's weird, but it's weird to hear your mom talked about in such a sexual
I'm
kind of,
sure.
I'm sure, yeah.
especially at
Yes.
14 or
Yeah,
15. That
yeah.
was
Oh,
a real like,
yeah.
okay, enough of that. So
Yeah.
those are the moments where I kind of went like, this is bizarre.
Yeah, it's almost like two identities. Like she's mom to you, but all of a sudden you're
Oh yeah.
realizing how people are seeing her.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a whole other person.
Edie Adams when I was younger, blah blah blah. I don't want to go there. Let's just stop the
No, no, no.
conversation right now. No. So
Uh,
yeah, weird moments like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I know you probably, I think we might have talked about this last time that when you're young and you're growing up that way, you think this is normal. This is how it is for everybody growing up until there's just reaches a moment that it's not how everybody grew up. So it's just I'm sure that's why I would assume when you do your podcast and you're talking to fellow, you definitely have that sort of that bond that nobody really could quite understand unless they lived through it.
Well, what's interesting is that someone recommended I talk to a woman named Pamela Dillman, and she was an actress, and she's also very well known in the online book world where she narrates books. I forget what, I don't know why I'm spacing on what it's called, but she's She's like the narrator. She reads books, book reader. Anyway, um, her father was an actor named Bradford Dillman. He's in a bunch of Planet of the Apes movies and all these other movies. He's well known. Great movie called Repulsion. Anyway, uh, it turns out that Pam Dillman and my sister, who had passed away, were best friends in elementary school.
Oh, wow.
And I knew that going in, but what she told me was so amazing was that she just said, your mom, she's like, I would go with Mia to Vegas and we would have seats and we would be backstage and your mom was always so glamorous and she did costume changes and, I mean, there were, anyway, she said, but your mom was she really wanted to know what I thought. She really was curious. Like she'd ask me questions like an adult, and I wasn't an adult. And I always thought those are the things that I love hearing about my mom, because she was so she would always say like, don't discount kids. Like they have important things too. What it may not be important to you, but it's very important to them. And I loved hearing Pam Dillman talk about that stuff about my mom. It was
Oh, yeah.
very sweet.
I bet. I bet.
So your mom moved fluidly, I guess, between like Broadway, film, TV, commercials. What medium do you think best captured who she really was as an artist?
Wow. Um, well, her career would have been very different had her first husband, Ernie Kovacs, not died. She would have been able to pick parts a little better. She would have not done things for the money because she was left in debt. Um, so she would have been in different movies. Um, but she's in, It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, The Apartment, The Best Man, some really, really good films, and some not so really good films.
Mm,
Um, so I think she ended up taking things for the money sometimes, or most actors do. You got to pay the bills,
Hmm.
of
and you
course.
can't always be, you can't always be super famous all the time too. Um, but I think it's weird because I do know people that talk about her being, I mean, she won a Tony Award on Broadway. She won for Daisy May in Lil Abner. She was in Wonderful Town. And then they moved from New York to LA, and then she was on excuse me, she was on television with Ernie in New York. So a lot of people know her from television for years. I mean, she was on from like 51 to like 56 maybe. So it I don't know. I think that may be part of the issue with people remembering her is that she did so many things that maybe they don't remember her for one thing.
Mm,
Yeah, good answer.
yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
in her obituary, it said, Muriel Cigar Girl passes away, and that was what she was known for too. She was known
yeah.
for these Muriel cigar commercials, which were, you know, that was like a 20-year career practically. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
If she was here today, what do you think she'd be doing creatively in today's world? The same
Wow.
or
Well, I mean, the thing about my mom was that she went to Juilliard. She
mm,
was very into Uh, she designed her own clothes when she was a girl. She designed something that ended up in the Neiman Marcus window one year. She was really into people who studied their craft, whatever it was, and attained something in their life. She was not a fan of people who just kind of like showed up and like they were a celebrity. So I
yep,
think
yep.
the influencer thing or the social media thing would really put her off. I think she'd just be like, "Ugh, God, no." But
Or even reality shows. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
they didn't have that back then.
she would hate that.
Yeah,
Hate it.
and I don't blame her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame
Um,
her at all.
Right.
but I think she would be, I think look, she told great stories. She'd be great host as a podcast. One of my favorite podcasts, obviously is not around because Gilbert Gottfried passed away, but the Gilbert Gottfried Amazing Colossal Podcast. And I said to both Gilbert and Frank Santropadre when I was on that podcast, you really should have had my mom. You would have gotten the best stories out of her because they would go deep and she knew I mean, she knew everybody, and she knew politicians. She knew sex symbol. I mean, I found pictures of her with like her and Ernie with Jane Mansfield and Mickey Hargitay. Like just like
Wow.
crazy pictures. She knew
Yeah.
everyone. So she might have been doing podcasts.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the podcasts are like, radio shows, really. So
Yeah.
I think your answer is great and I think accurate because I often wonder about how celebrities feel. The one, especially like you said, respect to people who studied and she studied the craft that in this day and age of this shortcutting to celebrity dumb with reality shows and like you said influencers everybody trying to kind of get it real quick but they don't a lot of them don't have staying power but I would think if I were a person who really worked for it and cared about the whole craft of it would be not so tolerant of people who just sort of find this quickie back way in just because they want attention.
Yeah, she would have absolutely hated that. I mean,
Yeah.
she would, she would fly first class, and there she would always complain that there was some rock star that was like, smelly and drunk, blah blah blah. And she was just like, no, 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 that was not her thing at all. Not into
Oh,
it.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is there is there any, are you working on anything new that you may want to talk a little bit about? Uh,
Oh, you are good. Um, yeah. Um,
okay. What would
so
that be?
okay, I'll tell you. I will tell you. A few years back, I was putting together a book about Ernie Kovacs. It was called Ernie and Kovacs Land. It came out on Fantagraphics imprint. And Pat Thomas, who helped edit it with Ben Modell, who's our archivist, Pat said to me, kind of like, if there's anything else, let me know. And while I was looking through all these amazing things of this Ernie Kovacs book, which was really like a photo book, it's kind of a coffee table book. It's not like a novel or anything like that. It's just all these amazing pieces that we happen to have in our house still. And I found a manuscript. It was like 400 pages, and it was interviews my mom had done in the 1970s about her life, but only up to about 78, 79. And some of them ended up in the book, and a lot of them didn't. So we put together a book with a guy named John Clages, who was actually a guest on the podcast. His grandfather was a guy, Enoch Light. I don't know if that name means anything to you. He was a conductor. You'll have to look him up. He's a fascinating guy. Um, and John edited these pages down, and we're putting it together. We're going to have a book called Edie Adams Conversations with Myself. And it's just her stories about ex-husbands, terrible kids, stepchildren, sisters, stories about husbands, ex-husbands. So, and great stories about, celebrities and things like that too. So that's going to come out sometime this year.
Oh, very exciting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, I love the
Yeah.
title. I love the title. Um,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Thank
looking
you.
forward. Is this your first book?
Well, the Kovacs book, I don't technically wasn't a writer, and I'm not really a writer on this one, but I was editor, compiler, I don't know what the right word is, shepherder. But it's really based on the fact that my mom did not throw anything away. And I still find amazing things. I was actually looking at this last night. We have glassware from Ernie Kovac's den that we still have that is like from the 1950s. It was these beer glasses that were clearly one of a kind, and they had TV shows on them like Father Knows
Oh,
Best or
Wow.
all this thing. And it's like my mom just did not throw stuff away ever.
that sounds super cool though. I mean, I'm gonna sound like a geek right now, but it really does.
What's so cool about it is that it exists. Like I would
Yes.
never have known that it's something that Ernie had, but he did. We have all the. I'll send you a picture. They're
Yes,
crazy.
I would love to see a picture.
And then I found like a weird, my mom had these weird coffee mugs made of her, and it just says like Edie. And she looks like because she's got the cigar from Muriel, but she's kind of like a super agent, like a silhouette of her. And I'm like, where did this come from? Like, I've never seen it.
Oh,
Um,
funny.
so for this book, Conversations with Myself, we went through a bunch of photos and we're trying to put things through the years. I mean, I have photos of my mom with Weird Al. I have my photos of my mom with Mr. T. I have photos of my
Wow.
mom with, Jack Lemmon, like whoever. It's nuts. So it'll be a fun one to look through.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
can't we'll wait. And when it's published and out there, we're going to invite you back, and
Oh boy.
we'll talk about it. And I'm really looking forward to it. It sounds like it's going to be a great book. I'm into that. I'm really
Yeah, me
into that.
too.
I'll send you guys a copy.
Thank you.
Yes.
I think I only have a few more questions myself. Debbie, you have any questions you want to ask Josh?
Well, I did want to for a second just circle back. Well, we are speaking of Ernie Kovacs, but just back to your podcast that you had if you want to talk a little bit about an episode that's a little unique with Fred Armisen, who received, right? Did he receive the Ernie Kovacs Award?
Yeah.
So if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. In November of 25, let me step back a minute. Every year, the Dallas Video Fest has an Ernie Kovacs Award, and they give this award to usually comedians who kind of exemplify some sort of technological brilliance or weird characters or creativity. So in the past, it's been John Cleese, Paul Rubens, Joel Hodgson, Harry Shearer, and this year, Fred Armisen accepted the award. And so every year, we all fly to Dallas. Fred Armisen flew to Dallas. It happened to be, this is the craziest thing, we did it in a theater called the Texas Theater, which is the theater that Lee Harvey Oswald was caught after he had assassinated Kennedy
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
on the day of the anniversary of the assassination.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
So
Wow.
that was weird.
Yes.
But it's crazy. Like people like they don't mark the seat, but everybody knows where the seat is that he was caught. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
still like a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, Fred Armisen came to Dallas, and I didn't interview him for the podcast, but we recorded his interview on stage with the Dallas Video Fest, and we basically talked about, what he was doing right now. He'd just done Netflix Wednesday as Uncle Fester. And just all of his weird ideas. He just put out a record, 100 sound effects, which are like kind of these weird. It's like a knockoff on like 60s records, but it's totally Fred Armisen.
Yeah.
Um, and it was a lot of fun. Every year, it's a great time to go down there, and I just love the fact that I get to meet these wacky people. Terry
Yes.
Gilliam,
Yes.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was a good time, and
That's very
every
cool.
year, yeah, Dallas is sort of now. Every year we honor Ernie in Dallas.
Wow.
That's
That's really
great.
nice.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple of more questions for me, but before I do that, is there anything else going on you want to let us know about? Something we didn't talk about that you would like us or like to talk
Um,
about, or
let's see. Well, it's funny just running so many archives. My dad's photography has sort of gotten the short shift recently. I'd love to do more stuff with his photos. In fact, yesterday on Facebook, it was okay, so yesterday was Martin Luther King Day,
Mhm.
and someone posted on Facebook all these photos of Martin Luther King and just said, we don't have enough photos of him in color. They're always in black and white. Here's a bunch of pictures. And one of my dad's photos of him was on this page. And I just realized that my dad was a great like portrait photographer. I don't, I'm not a portrait photographer, but he was great. He could capture the moment really well. And he shot sports and he shot celebrities and politicians and stuff like that. And it was just a really weird moment to like see someone who I had no attachment with, no connection with whatsoever, saying that my dad took a great picture of someone who was, such a great man. And I just wish my dad had like been able to appreciate, seeing that people appreciated his work too, because he always sort of felt like, well, I'm not like Richard Avedon, or I'm not like Andy Leibovitz, or it just, they're known for doing high end great stuff. And I was like, Dad, you took like an iconic picture of Martin Luther King, like,
Mm,
right?
Yes.
yeah. And your
So,
Right.
and your dad's name was?
oh, Martin Mills was his professional name,
Okay.
and we're on all the socials, Martin Mills Photography.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, at some point I'd like to do something with my dad's work as well because he took some really great photos. So I just want to make sure people know about him too.
We're in such a visual world, and so this is probably a good time for it. I think people would appreciate it. Just the fact that that was an unexpected surprise for you, that your dad's photo was included in that.
Yeah, it's so weird too because I know the minute I see a picture, I'll know if that's my dad's photo or not,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
it's really weird. My wife will always say like, "How do you know that?" I'm like, either I've seen that picture 100 times or it's exactly the way he would have done it.
Right. His style.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember taking a photography class in eighth grade, and he bought me a camera, and I was thought, oh, I'll just take some pictures and blah blah blah. I'm like, it's really hard to be a good photographer.
Mm-hmm.
And even especially then, when there's nothing digital, you couldn't see what you were taking. You had to know the aperture, you had to know the speed, you had to know the right film, Ilford, black and white. I mean, and it's really amazing. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a good
yeah.
point, by the way, that you couldn't see like you can these days with the digital screens and what
Oh
have you.
yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't shoot football very much, but he shot a very iconic Thanksgiving Day football game in like 71 or 72 with the Lions, I think the Vikings. And it's the kind of thing like people like, oh no, no, I know that game because it was snowing and it was a terrible day. But he would like tell me like, I had this giant camera bag. Cameras were really heavy. Someone would throw like a 30-yard pass and you got to run 30 yards to get the next
Mm,
shot. And
right.
but you don't know if you're taking the right photo. You don't know because you're just working as fast as you can. You can't look and see, oh my gosh, this is what it looks like. I mean, it was a real skill, especially sports photographers. Like
Oh
that's a
yeah.
real
Oh,
skill.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I just, I wish he knew or got how great he was in his time. He kind of just kind of poo-pooed it, but he was really great.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you mentioned it in the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Great,
Yeah.
great story.
Yeah.
Um, just again, a few final questions. What do you hope people take away after engaging with your work, whether they read your book, listen to your podcast? What do you kind of hope they take away from it?
Well, I think all of this revolves around a bit of a legacy and a bit of remembrance because I really do feel like, as we talked about, you know, influencers or reality stars or whatever, we're 24-hour news cycles. Like it's just, nobody remembers anyone. And so it really is an opportunity. And this is why I think people end up doing the podcast. And I hope at the end they realize why it's important to do these podcasts is that sometimes someone's not going to remember who your mother or father was. Um, one of the really unexpected, and while it was super tragic, I feel really good about it, was that I interviewed uh, Cleto Escobedo, who was Jimmy Kimmel's uh, conductor, or not conductor, but he was
Oh,
leader of the band.
Yes. Yep.
it's
And his dad was a musician. His dad's in the band. We talked about him, and I had no thought about any of my guests ever dying.
mm,
And
Mm-hmm.
he died tragically this last year. And all I could think about was that I'm so glad that I got to interview him because I know his family's not going to want to listen to a long form interview today, but at
Yeah.
some point in the
Yeah.
future, at the very least, his kids are going to be able to hear stories from their dad's voice that we talked for like an hour and a half. So that's the weird thing that I just never ever anticipated about doing this podcast. And that is his, I mean, I don't know how many long form interviews he did, and you know, who else would have that? So I hope that, people remember people.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting. We had a guest, a very good friend of mine, we had on who was sort of an amateur weather guy who passed away, and it wasn't too long ago that his family had listened to the podcast and said, hey, thanks for doing that because it brought back all these memories of dad and I never thought when we interviewed talking
Yeah.
about Scott Frazier, Debbie, when we
Yes.
interviewed him,
Yes. I didn't hear the story that you're telling
never
now. Wow.
never thought that it would have any kind of an impact, or you just never gave it a second thought. I mean, for
Right.
me, I'll listen to it because we were very good friends and just to hear his voice, but I never expected anybody else to listen, and so I can understand that
Yeah.
It's
that
great to
feeling.
hear that. Yeah.
um if if someone, you may have touched on this a little bit, if someone is wrestling with legacy and identity or finding their voice, what would you want to say to them?
Well, it's if it's their personal story, that's one thing. If it's their story about their family or their father or mother or grandfather or whatever, that's another. But the one thing that I think is actually kind of important is that I remember going to friends' houses. This is such a random memory. I went to my friend Jack Paley's house in like fifth grade, and I didn't know them, and I was over at dinner, and I was looking at pictures on the wall, and his mom had a beehive, and his dad, they look, kind of like, a little dated at the time, from the 70s to the 60s, and I just remember thinking that like that family has that photo as their remembrance of an event. But nobody hears about that event. Nobody ever talks about that event outside the family. Because why would you? I mean,
Right.
just bring up something.
Sure.
But with these stories, I hope that all the people that tell stories, like we talked to Sidney Pollack's daughter about stuff, and she would say how it was ridiculous. Like here I am, where he's making out of Africa, and I'm in Africa with like Meryl Streep and Robert Redford, and all I can think about is I hate it here, and I want to be home with my boyfriend, and I hate being here. And it's like she laughed about it, but she was like, these are the stories that were kind of like, you tell your kids or you tell someone else. So I feel like you know, everybody's got their own personal story, but it's usually bottled up inside. And I like that people can actually tell these stories and the world can hear them.
Yes.
That's a great answer.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
So, so we've been talking with Josh Mills here. Thank you so much again for joining us and being our guest for my third, fourth time now, and sending us all of some of our other guests too. We really appreciate that. We've had some great great conversation with Steve Wynn. We just did we just
Yeah.
replayed his
The
episode, and
replay. Yeah.
and the musicians and the band have been great, and we appreciate that. Where can people find you and keep up with you and what you're doing next and all of that? Let our listeners know where they
Oh,
can.
you are good. I was gonna say this. So it's rarefied air, HEIR podcast.com. That's our website, and we have episodes there. But you can find us on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, anywhere you get your podcast, will be there. And all of our social media. It's either Rarefied Air Pod, I think, on most of them. Um, so, and if you want to look up, I think we have real Edie Adams and we have real Ernie Kovacs and we have Martin Mills photography. So poke around. You'll find us.
We're going to have all of those links in the show notes for this episode, so folks
Cool.
can check that out as well. Thank you again for the honesty, for going deep with us this time, and the storytelling. It's been a great, it's been a real pleasure to have you and see you again. And I'm hoping that you're gonna make a trip up to Boston maybe sometime, and we'll get together in person and have a bite to eat and share some more stories.
I love it. We can go to the Harvard Gardens in the North End, whatever. I'm ready
Yes.
to do it.
There you go. We can
Thank you, Josh.
we'll
Yeah.
find a few great places for you.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Josh,
All right.
that's Josh Mills, everyone. Check him out again. All of the links that he just mentioned will be in the show notes, and check out his podcast. It's fantastic. Rarefied Air, HEIR. I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I know you're gonna enjoy it because we certainly do. So, Josh Mills, everyone. All right, Debbie and I do a quick outro, and then we'll come back and chat a little bit more. Debbie, I love having him on the show. I mean,
As do I.
It's it's always entertaining and fun, and the stories are great. I mean, I just I never know what what to ask, but it just we got to have him on again. We're gonna have him on again.
I just like want to hang out with Josh. I wish he
Yeah.
was closer.
That's it. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, it would be
Hang out, have a coffee, and chat. I love it.
take an Amtrak train out to LA or something. During the not the rainy season.
Yeah.
No, he's such a joy to come on, and he wears, like I
Yes.
said, so many hats. I just don't know how.
Plus, he we didn't get to really talk about it, but we know. Well, we did the last time about how he and I are both publicists, or
Yeah,
in music. So I love that connection as well.
is a topic for the next time we have him on.
Yes.
He's quickly becoming a member of our Five Timers Club.
Yes. He's going up the
And
charts there with that. Yep.
He is, and when he gets there, we send a nice little gift to our Five Timers
Yes.
Club. So
Yes.
yeah, so a couple more times he'll be on. That's gonna pretty much wrap it up. You got anything you want to share with our listeners? Anything exciting going on?
Not at the top of my head.
Just working a lot
Just
and
working.
getting back into the swing of things.
Getting back into the swing of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got back from a little trip myself, so I'm trying to I'm still a little bit in that mode. So, but it's back to work.
Yeah. It's I'm just waiting for it to warm up.
Be here before you know it.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
We got some great guests coming up as well. In the future podcast. Our next episode, very special episode as well. Folks want to tune in. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, we got a lot of surprises coming up on the old podcast as we approach nearly 200 episodes. Who ever thought when
Wow.
I started this back in oh my goodness, during COVID
Mhm.
with Eric, and
With
it's like,
Eric,
well,
yeah.
we'll get out of COVID and I'll probably get bored of this, but I do love to hear myself talk. I can't stand to hear myself. I can't listen to myself, but I love to chat. So
Yeah.
anyway, but it's been great. It's been great doing the last 4 years with you. Can you believe it?
No,
Man,
can't believe it. Yeah.
Time
I
flies.
know.
Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
So, well, all good things must come to a close, right? So, and I think we're at
Yeah.
that. I think we're at that point now with this episode. But it's great to see you, and
Great to
I'm
see you
glad you
too.
had a great holiday. Happy New Year again to you, to all of our listeners.
You.
Please send us an email. Let us know that you're listening at It's Another Sunday Podcast at gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. If you have any guest suggestions, you want to be on the show yourself, you got something interesting to talk about, we'd love to hear from you. It's Another Sunday Podcast at gmail.com. Debbie, have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good, Gerry. Thank you.
It's Another Sunday Podcast. It's produced by Debbie. Sometimes Gerry gets involved. The music you hear in the background is performed and written by Tom Blaze. Check his YouTube channel out at Tom Blaze. That's going to do it for this episode. And special thanks to our guest, Josh Mills. Check out all of the links in the show notes. for Josh is for Josh is wherever he is. He's everywhere. Thanks for listening.